What up y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dom and I've been a little bit MIA for the past year, but I'm back and I'm gonna be dropping more videos, so I appreciate you being here. Today, we are looking at the Leica Sofort 2, this new instant hybrid digital camera coming out of Leica. I'm gonna compare it to the Fuji Instax Mini Evo, and I'm gonna talk about some pros and cons and some differences I found when using this camera. First off, I wanna say the Leica Sofort 2, I'm a bit disappointed in this. Designed by Leica Germany. Is this just completely false now? Because let's not kid ourselves, this is a rebadge of the Fuji Instax Mini Evo. I've seen a few reviews of this camera and people aren't really mentioning it. I mean, this is like the Toyota 86 and the Subaru BRZ. It's literally just slapping on a different company badge and it's the exact same camera. Even like the lens, I've seen some reviewers say that this is a f2.2 lens or 2.4 lens. No, this is the exact same 28mm equivalent f2.0 lens. It's the exact same sensor. It's the exact same internals, everything as the Mini Evo. It even takes the exact same film. No, you didn't design this by Leica Germany. This is a Fuji. This was designed a year and a half earlier and already released for $199. Take that for what it's worth. But that being said, I do like this camera. There are some welcome differences and I like some of the upgrades that they made, some of the changes they made. I don't know if they're upgrades for everyone, but they are some annoyances for me. My biggest complaint for the Mini Evo was that the lens is fully exposed. There's no way to put a lens cover or a lens cap. It doesn't come with that. It's not threaded, so you can't put anything on there to protect it. So a lot of times in my bag, I'm throwing it into like a sleeve or a sock or something like that, just to make sure the lens doesn't get scratched, because if you scratch that lens, you're screwed. But with the Sofort 2, Leica did make a cool little Leica lens cover, and it is magnetic on the Sofort. So it clips on, it doesn't fall off, it's sturdy, it protects the lens well, and they did a really good job. I think that's a welcome upgrade. I really like it. The body is a little bit different. It's essentially a little bit thicker, so the Fuji is a little bit thinner, but then the screen and the buttons protrude out the back, as do the buttons on the front. Whereas on the Leica, it's a little bit thicker in general, but it's just because the screen and the buttons don't protrude as much. It protrudes all the way around the screen, so the thickness of it is a little bit wider in your hand, which I actually like the feel of that a little bit more. It feels a little bit better. It kind of doesn't have that notch in the back for your thumb as the Fuji does. The Leica doesn't have it, it's a little bit smoother. So ergonomically, I like the way the Fuji feels a little bit better. Also the textured front on the Mini Evo, you don't have that on the Leica. The Leica is kind of like this glass front, and I think it feels a little bit stickier in your hand. I like it, although it does show fingerprints pretty bad. The placement of the camera strap loops on the Mini Evo are different than the Leica, in that the Mini Evo, it's gonna hang this way vertically on your neck, whereas the Leica, I took the strap off, but the Leica strap mounts are this way, horizontal, so it's gonna sit like every other camera does around your neck, which I like the way this feels and looks around my neck. I think it looks better, but the way the film layout is, this camera is really meant to shoot vertically. So when you grab the Mini Evo from being around your neck and you go up to shoot it, it's exactly where you want to be shooting, and it shoots, you know, as the film is supposed to shoot, so it's not something you have to rotate. Next, the plugs on the bottom. The Fuji has a micro USB on the bottom, whereas the Leica has USB-C. A welcome upgrade, I really like that. And the buttons on the Leica in general, they feel a little bit better. It might be because they're flush mount. That's kind of in general. The Instax, it feels more like a toy. Like it feels more plasticky, and the fake grip on the front, it feels more toy-ish. All right, another main difference I found is the location of the tripod mount. Now, again, kind of goes back to the strap. The tripod mount for the Leica is on the bottom here, so it's gonna mount horizontally on your tripod, whereas the Fuji, it's on the side of the camera, so it's gonna mount vertically. And this again goes back to functionality versus, I don't know, aesthetics. So are you getting this camera to shoot more horizontal? If you look like the digital files and you're not printing as much, maybe this is a better way to go because of the way the tripod mount is and the neck straps. That shouldn't really affect your decision, because in all honesty, you're getting this camera to print. And then if you're printing a lot, you're probably gonna wanna shoot in vertical. Also, I've never once put these on a tripod and used them that way at all. I'm just not using that camera for that purpose. For me, the biggest difference I found between these two cameras has nothing to do with the cameras themselves. It's the software in the app that you use to control them. I really like the Leica app a lot better than the Fuji app. The Fuji app's just kind of like old and dated, and it's just not as easy to use, whereas the Fuji apps, it feels newer, it feels fresher, it feels easier to use, it feels faster. The lagginess of it is a bit less, and just overall user experience, I like the Leica much better than the Fuji. So if you are using the app a lot, which I really don't, I do sometimes, but I really don't in general use the app a lot. But when you do, I do like the Leica app a lot. Now, it's not worth $180 more by any means, but again, I'm just pointing out the differences. Let's talk about what actually should drive your purchasing decision in that price and image quality, because I think those are the two main differences in these two cameras. Now, first, I want to talk about image quality in two different segments. I want to talk about how the images look digitally when you put those files onto a computer and you're editing them versus how they look being printed straight out of the camera, because those are two different things and they really should drive your decision, although it's really not that big of a difference. All right, so digitally speaking, if you shoot these as just digital cameras and then you put the files onto a computer, the files do look different in that the way they are exposed is different. The Fuji tends to underexpose by about a half a stop to a stop in comparison to the Leica. And I think that's just how they're metered or how they're being processed. The two cameras do those a little bit different, even though they're same internals or whatnot. So the Leica overexposes by about a half a stop to a stop. And digital files, when I put them up on the computer without tweaking them at all, I like the way the files look coming out of the Fuji. Now, I have noticed in some instances that I like the colors out of the Leica, but I'm really nitpicking at those. I mean, I can't see like a huge difference, especially if I'm shooting 2 or 3 shots of the exact same shots on each camera. They're pretty darn close. And in some cases with low lighting or whatnot, I have noticed a difference in colors, and I tend to like the color accuracy of the Leica a little bit more. Definitely not a huge difference though, and not enough to where I would say it should change your decisions, especially because the files are so small in general. It's not like you're pixel peeping at these files. You know, these are fun. These are fun cameras. These are fun files. You're throwing them up on Instagram or something, or texting them to your friends. Don't take it too seriously. The files, when you just print them straight out of the camera, I like the way the prints look out of the Leica more. And I think it's because it's overexposed just a tad. And the way the prints come out, they look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to me. The prints look a little bit better, like slightly teeny tiny better on the Leica. Again, not $180 worth, which brings me to, should you buy this camera? And that's a tough call. I can't recommend that this is worth $400. I mean, it's not like the Leica designed in Germany. You're paying for the red sticker, $400. I just can't recommend it that much more than the Fuji. Now, that being said, the Fuji Evo has been sold out for like years. It's kind of like the mythical X100V. You just can't really get them. They're not readily available. $300, yeah, I'm getting the Leica. I just like the feel of it. I like the look of it a little bit better, and the quality in general, and the USB-C. That's like a convenience thing for me. I would get the Leica, but in terms of the two, this is literally just a rebadged Fuji. There's not that big of a difference in image quality, battery life, anything like that. So if you're cool with the aesthetics of them, I mean, that could be a driving factor. Take the Fuji. In general, I would say buy the Fuji, $199. I love this camera. I've owned this camera for like 3 years since it came out, and I just love this camera. I've used it so much at parties and with my kids and stuff. We love this camera. We use it a ton. But that being said, if you got the money and it's $180 more, if you got it, ball out. You know what I mean? I like the features of this Leica, and I like the way this thing looks. It looks pretty cool and feels really nice in my hand. I think I would tend to take this one out a little bit more just because I like it. It doesn't look like a toy strapped around my neck. Take that what it's worth. I appreciate you guys being here. If you like this video, please shoot me a comment or a thumbs up. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you are gonna buy either of these, if you would, use my links in the description below. It really helps out a small channel like me. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.